Ready to add a little something to your latex wardrobe for cheap, possibly even free? Today, we're making latex glovelets, and you can too. You can even make them with scraps. Welcome to Rubbly Workshop. Hey Rubbly fam! Today, we're not fixing latex, we're making it. Glovelets are the perfect accessory, and they're the perfect beginner project to begin with. After I learnt latex repair, here's me, 10 years ago, just after, with the glovelets I learnt to make. So we've covered basic repairs in the past few episodes, and now we're showing you how to make your own gear. Now's a really good time to smash that subscribe button and see what we're making next. Moving on. This pattern, we've based it on the one by makinglatexclothing.com. That was where I first learnt to make the glovelets. I've made some changes to make it a little bit easier for you. This pattern here is what I've redrawn, and you'll see this little square at the bottom. This is great because everyone's printer is different. We print with A4 paper here. Americans print with, well, whatever they print with, letter? Whatever. Anyway, you can just use the scaling option in your print settings and make sure that that square is about 10mm square in size. If it isn't, if it's too small or too large, and you've printed the wrong size. So just be sure that that square is 10mm roughly either way, and you should be good. Let's start with cutting out the pattern. Take your 28mm rotary cutter and just go right around the lines ever so carefully, like so. Just a pro tip to make your life easier, when you have straight lines, just use your ruler and use your rotary cutter against the ruler to keep that cut straight. Then you can focus on the curvier cuts. They're something else. So one thing you'll see as I'm cutting along these curves, I'm using both my hands to make this cut. I've got my right hand holding the rotary cutter, that's my dominant hand. My left hand, you can also see I am manipulating the pattern just a little, steering it. So technically you're steering with your right hand and your left hand, keeping that rotary cutter on the line, and then shifting the paper about to ensure it stays in line as well. That's how we get the cuts. This technique can take some practice, but you'll definitely get there. It's super easy. The scrap that I found for this one is a nice silver latex. Well, it's from Radical Rubber. Look it up. When I make markings on latex, I like to mark it on the dull side, the side that's worn against the body and isn't really seen. Because if something just so happens to not wash off, well, who really cares? No one's going to see there anyway, right? Unless your latex is transparent, but then you have a whole bunch of other problems. So we won't go there today. Put your latex down, put the dull side up, and place the pattern on top like so. One little trick I like to do here is place some strips of masking tape, usually about 4, in each corner roughly, just to hold it down. Make sure there's no creases in the pattern. Just make sure it's all flat and you're all good. There we go, all good. Notice how I also put the weight down on the material. That also stops it going all slidey as well. You don't have to have the fancy weights that dressmakers and such use. If you have a home gym set, your average 2.5 kilo weight will be just fine, as we've got here. Next up, you'll want to trace the pattern onto the latex. This is easy. Just take a gel pen or a chalk marker and just trace around the edge. Now let's trace that pattern out in the latex. That's looking good so far. But one thing when using a gel pen is you cannot do steady lines, and you'll find this out real quick. You'll find that ballpoint pens just drag on the latex. It sucks, I know. But what you can also do is you can use a chalk marker. You can get those from Officeworks or any good stationery store. They just glide, and better yet, you can just draw straddling your pattern and the latex like this. As you can see, look at that, that was done in no time at all. So make your decision wisely when buying stationery. The gel pen is great, the chalk marker is better. That being said, the gel pen is good for smaller, more dainty applications, which this is not. But that's an argument for another day. Let's get on with the task at hand. So I'm just going to lop this section off here, and let's get to work. Once again, we're going to go in for the easy cuts. I'm getting a ruler, placing against the straight lines, and I'm cutting along those. Let's go in for the curved lines. Using the same technique, dominant hand with the cutter, other hand manipulating the material. Just slide it along. And there you have it. The first piece is done. That's one glovelet. Let's do another. So let's cut another piece out. This time I'm going to be a little more efficient with my material I have left here. Notice how I've put the pattern in a slightly slanted way. That is so I can fit it in right up to the edge. Efficient use of the latex means that you'll have to manipulate your pattern and make it fit as close to the edges as it can, and this is as good as we can get. And this time we're using a chalk marker, so let's race through this. See how much faster that is? That is awesome. Let's pull up the tape and just fill in the blanks like we did before. And once again, let's cut it out. And there you have it, another piece. So having a look at the pattern that you printed out, look at the text outside of the pattern that we didn't cut out. You'll see that the pattern mentions that the red lines are where we are going to be gluing. And we can make those seams as big or as small as we want. You've probably seen that a lot of seams are about 10mm, but for something like this, I'm happy to make this 5mm. It works just fine, and these are done with 5mm as well. But we'll worry about that in a moment when we start doing the taping. Let's continue on the dull side, and I'm pointing some arrows to where those glue lines are on the pattern just to make it a little bit easier for us and for you to follow along. You'll see where I've marked T and B. That's for top and bottom. You'll see that this piece simply just folds into itself, one layer on top of the other. You don't really have to be too pedantic about which side goes on top of each other, but you should make them the same for both glovelets. That's just good practice. So we've established what you can see on the left is on top. So we'll be gluing underneath that. And what you see on the right is what will be on the bottom. So we'll be gluing that side that's facing the camera. Let's get to it. So let's measure in by 5mm each way. This is a job for the gel marker. Just saying. And just do the same thing, measuring 5mm for all the lines we're going to be gluing, like so. When you've marked your 5mm line, just apply some masking tape like so. Just notice a little thing I'm doing here. I've been a bit loose with my measurements, and I've put the masking tape out a little bit. So it's a little more than 5mm on the bottom side. And that's okay, because I'm going to make it a little less than 5mm on the top side, and this ensures we get a nice consistent fit without any risk of overlap. Well, those are the straight lines, those are the easy ones. Let's do the curvy glue lines. A little trick to measuring in seams for curves is to periodically drop your measurements along like so. Just take a ruler and do some dots. At this point, it's easier to just freehand a line along those dots like so. Taping off curvy seams like these are a little different as well. And the reason for that is you need to have a curvy line, but the tape is straight. Well, that's easily solved as well. You use multiple little pieces of tape just around the curve like this. Just rip them off, throw them on, and get as close to the curve line as you can doing that. Okay, strap on those boots, put on those braces, put on your respirator, and put on those gloves. We are ready to clean and glue. Let's go. On a rag, let's get a little bit of solvent. As usual in Australia, we're using our Foss Fitting Room number 9 from Levelers. Just dab that rag in just a little bit. You don't want to use too much solvent, it just evaporates way too quickly. Take what you need. And now let's get scrubbing. Yes, the latex is going to curl, but that's alright, just let it sit for 5 minutes. So let's pour out a little bit of glue. Once again, Foss Fitting Room number 9 cement does the trick. Also note, if you're not from Australia, we do have a list of glues you can buy around the world. Just see Rubberly Workshop episode 1, coming up on the screen now. That'll give you all the info you need. So with your glue, just dish out a little bit, give it a bit of a stir, make sure it's the consistency you want, At this point, you can add a little bit of solvent to thin it out, but we're happy with this mix. This is good. Let's go. Just to be sure, I'm going to give my work surface a quick wipe, just to get any stray glue. The curved seam will be a little bit complicated, but it's really not, and I'll show you how that's done. But first, for the seam that we're gluing on the other side, I'm going to put a little bit of paper underneath, just so we don't get stray glue where we don't want it. For the curved seams, they're a little small. I like to use a narrow art brush to get the glue into them. Let's do that. Just glue that on. Don't put any extra layers on, just get the glue that you've got on the brush and brush it into a nice thin layer so there's no overlaps of extra layers. That just prevents bubbling in the seam and makes it look nice and clean. I'm just going to put a weight here just to keep that folded like so. I don't want that putting glue elsewhere. Let that sit for about 5 minutes. And now we're going to put the hardest seam together, the curvy one. Let's take the top of it. If we keep the top seam aligned perfectly, we shouldn't need to make any cuts to correct it. If you join them together, and don't cause any stretching when you join them together, you should find that both sides are flush. Remember, if you do make a mistake, you can pull it back and reattempt the join like so. When you're happy with how it's joined, just grab the seam roller and press it all down. The straight seams are easier. We can take the spatula and we can just put a thin layer of glue on each one. Using a little bit of paper underneath, we can also be a little bit messy too, and that's not going to be a problem. We've got paper and we've got masking tape. You can be a little rough. Do the same for both seams, just like you did before. We're going to keep this folded so it doesn't spread stray glue like we did before, just without the weight. Let's use this pen. Perfect. Give it about 5 minutes to get tacky. Now this seems pretty straightforward. Join them together at the top like so. Don't stretch them, just keep making sure that you've got the right distance as you keep attaching the seam. And remember, you can still pull the seam back even if it's been stuck for 5 minutes or so. And you can reattempt it. And when you've joined the seam how you want, just apply the seam roller and press it through like so. Good, you've just completed your first glovelet. Let's do it all again for the second one. This time, in high speed.
Cross my name off the list. This is without rhyme or reason. I'm not an optimist. I just never dress for the season. There's no reason. It's time to pay off all my attempts to make a bad move. Procrastination, deep down I need to take a wrong turn. I don't know how long's forever. We could never stick together that long. Let it all just flow to pieces. Shine your light, I know you need me to turn your life around completely. Give me one more paradise.
And once you're done gluing it, just take a little bit of solvent on the rag, give it a once over to collect any stray glue, just like this, inside and out. Try not to get the glue under the seam. Once your glovelets are nice and clean, give them a squirt with some talcum powder, and that should stop any more adhesives from working, except for the ones in the actual seam, of course. Set them aside for 24 hours and allow the glue to cure. After 24 hours, your glovelets are ready to wear. Just give them a quick wash and a polish, just so that they look like this. They're actually shiny. See? There's no powder. Here's another couple of pro tips with the pattern as well. If you look at the green line in the middle, you can actually make the pattern longer or shorter just by using that line. You can cut the pieces into two, you can spread them out, and draw a longer pattern, just for larger hand spans. Another way you can alter the pattern is by printing it slightly larger or slightly smaller using the scale option in your computer's print options. Another little thing you can do with this pattern is you can cut along the green line, and you can use that to make your glovelet from two pieces. Maybe you have smaller pieces of scrap, maybe you like multiple colours. Those are all options. For most people, however, if you just print the standard pattern, make sure that the 10mm square is good and use that, that is a one size fits most and you should be good to go. And look at that, Glovelets made with no stress and a great way to put your scrap latex to good use. Stay tuned for our next episode in 2 weeks' time, where we'll make something a little harder but show you how to make it easy, just like you've been learning to do so far. Bye for now.
Never ceases.